you as starter?
Well, we're going to see what happens this week. We have not had an opportunity. I have not had an opportunity to sit down with Al and go through what the doctors have decided, what they've decided. But the first thing I'm going to tell everybody is let's don't get ahead of ourselves, because remember, we got to return him to practice first and see where he is, if he is cleared and ready to go. So we'll go from there, guys. And be honest with you guys, when I do decide this and this is done, you guys are going to be the last ones to know. I got to inform people. I've got to sit down and talk to Scott and Kenny. Then I got to talk to the quarterbacks, and then I've got to talk to my football team, guys. So for the most part, you guys will be the last ones to get notified.
How about with Chase? Will he come back? Will he be activated this week? And do you expect him to play?
I think we still have a little over a week to make that decision, but he is trending in the right direction. And again, we'll have to see how things unfold this week as well, but it is coming.
What did you see when you went back and looked at the tape?
I thought there were a lot of good things, Sam. I really do. There were some real positive things that we did, some things we can be better at. I really like the way the coordinators in all three phases handled the game. We got rolling a little bit after we gave up the fumble recovery, which turned into 7 points for them eventually. But I really thought offense answering the way they did, driving down, scoring right after it. And then I thought the defense settled in and had a stretch where they were really dynamic, got after the quarterback a couple times, made some plays downfield. But I do think there are some things that we can do better. There were some little detail things that we got to be better at. The thing that was amazing to me was we ran the ball, I think it was 49 times. And we only had one negative run, one tackle for loss, and that was 1 for 1 yard. That I thought was very impressive as far as our offense was concerned. Defensively, we fit the run well at times, and at other times we did. Their formations gave a little bit of trouble. I think we over-adjusted for them individually, and I think the coaches got them on the sidelines, got those things corrected. We were trying to limit their explosives. We did give up a big long pass, but because of the effort that we got from St. Just and from Forrest, I thought causing the fumble and recovering it really led to some good things for us. So there were a lot of positives that came out of this.
Hey, Ron, what are things you want to see yourself, maintain? Obviously, does this set a new baseline for where you guys want to be at? And how do you make this more consistent moving forward?
Well, I think it's about acknowledging the fact that, we ran the ball pretty well. I know we ran the ball 49 times. I think we only averaged a little over 3 yards a carry, but, there was some really good mixing it up in there. The reason several of those carries were less than a yard, a little over a yard, was because we were in 3rd and short a couple of times, and we converted. We converted a 4th and 1. So when you're going to have those, we scored a couple of touchdowns on goal to goes that were from the 1 and 2 yard line. So your average is going to be off a little bit, which is fine because we made a commitment to the run. I like the play calling. I thought we mixed it up very well, offensively and defensively for that matter. But I really do think running being the focus, we showed to ourselves how it can help, how it helps slow down a pass rush, a very dynamic pass rush a little bit, and how it helps with our play action as well.
Hey, Ron, when it comes to with quarterback in general, what are what are the factors that you have to consider when there's a situation like this with Carson with a guy coming back from an injury, but a guy who is also 3-1?
Yeah, I mean, you have to look at the momentum. You have to look at what the mood of the team is. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into it, John. A lot of things that I'll have to discuss with Scott and Kenny for that matter, which we'll be doing a little bit later. And then, like I said, I still haven't sat down with Al and gotten the full report and what to anticipate as far as Wednesday, Thursday, Friday going forward, if everything's cleared.
Ron, do you see this?
And then when,
go ahead, John.
Sorry about that, Matt. With Chase, what are some of the things that you want to see from him this week? Because there was, I think you talked about missing that practice, and Jack had talked about that he wasn't able to do everything, not everything full speed last week. So what do you need to see?
It's exactly that. The things that he's going to have to do in a game, he's going to have to do full speed. He's going to have a little more confidence and really be able to stick that foot in the ground and work off of it and play off of it. And that was one of the things that we saw that, we were a little concerned with. Jack hit the nail on the head. We're not going to expose him until it's time to. And I know, the 21 days have been coming up pretty soon. But our anticipation is we will be activating him at some point, though.
Ron, with the quarterback, do you see this decision as any different than the previous decisions you've made with quarterback in your career, given the momentum involved with Taylor or anything?
I don't. And the reason being, Matt, is you look at what is best for the team. And at the end of the day, that's how it has to be. There's a great saying that you treat everybody the same, you treat everybody fair, but you treat everybody according to the team. And that's what this is about. So the decision being made will be about the team first and foremost. And one thing that I've always done is whoever the starter is, I'm going to commit to them fully. And because I don't want them looking over their shoulder. I want them to understand this is the opportunity and this is where we're going with it. So whatever the decision is made after, my conversations today and tomorrow morning, that's what we're sticking to.
Can I follow up on that real quick? Is that a long-term thing? Like, are you weighing committing for a period of a few weeks, or just is that with regard to Sunday's game?
That's regard with playing the games as the game as they come. Remember, everything's one game at a time. I'm not getting ahead of ourselves. We're going to focus in on winning one game at a time. I've already seen stuff, people talking about what happens the next 2 weeks and then going into the Giants. No, we can't get ahead of ourselves. We have to focus on Houston. And I said this yesterday, we'll come up against a very well-coached team, very disciplined team. Coach Smith has a plan. He does things very regimented. And he is very steadfast in the way he does it, which I really believe is one of the right ways to do it. I was fortunate enough to be on his staff when we went to the Super Bowl. So I know he's a very capable head coach. So we're coming into this game with the right attitude. We got to make sure that we are.
Ron, to that point, coming off of such an emotional win, a huge win against Philly, what is the challenge of kind of like almost hitting the reset button?
That's exactly what it is, Scott. It is a reset button. We've not arrived by any means, okay? And I'm going to get on my young guys tomorrow because with the way they were celebrating in the locker room, the best thing it shows is that this is the first time they've been there. People tell you, act like you've been there. Well, I'm going to give them a little grief for that. I get it. I appreciate the energy and the excitement. Now we have to understand, act like you've been there because now they've been there. So let's get refocused. Let's get ready to face Houston because again, it's a home game for them. As I said, I've always, appreciated and respected the way Coach Smith does things. And I think our players have to understand that.
And when you say this team has not arrived yet, what do you have to see to know that this team has arrived?
It's all about consistency, Scott. It's all about consistency. We had a chance a week before last against Minnesota. We didn't close it out. You know what I'm saying? Those are the things that teams that have arrived can do. They can close it out. We had a chance, we had a lead, and we didn't do it. This week we had a chance, we had a lead, and we did do it. So again, that's up, down, that's up. So we just got to make sure we understand, to be a really good team in this league, you got to be consistent.
Hey, Ron, you guys are kind of back in the playoff race, though, because of your recent winning streak. What do you make of that? And then what do you just kind of make of the way everyone is bunched together as well?
It's the parity. I mean, that's the thing everyone understand is that, with the way things are today, with the way there's a salary cap, with the way the league is scheduling things, I think they found a pretty good formula in terms of scheduling, how they mix your divisional games in with your conference games, with your non-conference games. Somehow it's creating a lot of parity. I mean, sure, there's a couple of elite teams right now that have very good records, but I think the parity within this league is starting to show itself. I think a lot of people are beginning to understand that this is a quarterback-driven league, and everybody's trying to find, and think about it, if you have 32 teams with 32 quarterbacks they like, you're not going to have a whole bunch of, runaway records. You're going to probably have a little bit more parity like we're starting to see. And I think that's kind of what everybody wants. They want to see that everybody's still in the competition. Everybody's still in the hunt. Everybody's still fighting because it keeps the excitement. If you can keep this going into late December, early January, you have a chance. And that's what happened to us a couple of years ago. That's what I like to see us continue. And so we'll take it one at a time. And, this coming weekend will be another opportunity for us, and we've got to be ready to hopefully put ourselves in a good position.
And I imagine you
what was the plan at right tackle this game, and what's the plan going forward?
Well, again, I like what we did this week. We're reintroducing Sam Cosme into playing and getting him some reps to see exactly where he is, and we'll evaluate that as the week goes.
2 more.
Ron, can I ask you about that emotional moment in the locker room getting the game ball? Obviously you're choked up and said mom would be proud. What exactly do you think she'd be proud about with your football team?
Was just how resilient they were, how they played. I always tell everybody she was my biggest supporter and my biggest critic, other than my wife. But mom was my dad told in his eulogy on my mom was mom's the one who taught him football. He was a baseball guy. So my mom knew the game. And so she understands what it takes to be successful. And it would have been one of those things that, she'd have told me what she thought. And I really do believe she said she'd been really proud with the way we played.
Is that game ball going to Pops? Or are you going to keep it?
No, I'm sending it to Dad. In fact, I literally just put it in the box and sealed it up and sent it to him. It's something that'll be very special for him to have.
That's awesome.
Hey, Ron, I'm just curious, what did you think of Brian Robinson's performance after watching him, both in terms of the ability, but also mentally? He obviously had a few things going on this week with the whole statement situation. So how did you think he persevered through that?
Well, I think the big thing about the statement thing was once he was told about it, it was okay. That was interesting, and I think that's where he left it categorized as interesting. I think the important thing and the focus was about running. We talked about it. Talked about it with Randy. We talked about it with Jennifer. With the coaches, and then we talked about it with Scott, and we made sure that the running backs understood. We were going to commit to the run. This was one of those games. And we were going to run the ball, and he loaded up for it, and he came with the right mindset and got after it.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.